The soft morning light was filtering in through the window. Zara opened her eyes and looked at the clock. It was already 7 o'clock. She quickly got out of bed because today was her first day at a big multinational company where she had just secured a job. Zara came from a middle-class background, but her dreams were always big. She had always believed in hard work and wanted to achieve something on her own. Her only goal was to give her mother a prosperous life and turn her dreams into reality. On the other hand, Rehan Shah was a spoiled young man from a wealthy family. He had no worries in the world. Life, to him, was just a game. He took pride in the fact that he could get whatever he wanted. Zara's life and Rehan's world were moving in opposite directions, but fate had planned to bring them together at an unexpected turning point. The first day, the first meeting. As soon as Zara entered the company, she was mesmerized by its dazzling atmosphere. She was excited about the beginning of her new journey, but she had no idea whom she was about to encounter. "You?" Zara said in shock. Rehan casually glanced at her and smirked. "Yes, me. Why are you surprised?" This meeting was about to change both of their lives forever. Zara still couldn't believe that the very person she always wished to stay away from had turned out to be her senior at the office. "Looks like fate has sent you to work under me," Rehan said with a mocking smile. Zara took a deep breath and remained composed. "I'm here to work, not to tolerate you." Rehan laughed. "Let's see how long you can tolerate me." The first day turned out to be quite challenging for Zara. While others appreciated her hard work, Rehan kept trying to find faults in her work. But Zara was not someone to give up easily. That night, when she reached home, her mother looked at her face and asked, "How was your first day?" With a faint smile, Zara replied, "Challenging, but I'm ready." This battle had only just begun. Days passed in the office, but the clashes between Zara and Rehan did not stop. While Zara remained focused on her work, Rehan constantly looked for ways to annoy her. One day, there was an important presentation that Zara had to prepare. She worked tirelessly through the night, but when she arrived at the office in the morning, she discovered that her project file had been deleted. "How is this possible?" Zara stared at the computer screen in shock. "Looks like a special someone wants to see you fail," her colleague Aisha whispered. Zara's heart sank. The first name that came to her mind was Rehan. She stormed straight into his office. "Did you do this?" Rehan, sitting casually in his chair, replied nonchalantly. "Did what?" "You deleted my file, didn't you?" Zara's eyes were filled with anger. With a smirk, Rehan said, "Do you have any proof?" Zara clenched her teeth and walked away. But she had made up her mind, no matter what happened, she would not give up. On the other hand, there was a strange glint in Rehan's eyes. He was surprised that, despite all his efforts, Zara was refusing to bow down. A strange restlessness had begun to grow inside him. Was this just opposition, or was it something else? Zara was trying to recover from the presentation setback. She worked hard and recreated the entire presentation overnight. The next day, when she presented it in front of everyone, the boss highly praised her dedication and efforts. Rehan watched in surprise. Despite the challenge he had thrown at her, Zara had not given up. A few days later, the company organized an official trip. All employees were required to attend an outdoor seminar. This journey had the potential to bring a new twist to Zara and Rehan's relationship. On the bus, Zara took her seat, but fate had something else planned. At the last moment, Rehan also sat down right beside her. "Looks like fate keeps trying to bring us together," Rehan said mischievously. Zara replied seriously, "Or maybe this is just another one of your games." "Game? No. I'm just embracing destiny's will," Rehan smirked. During the journey, for the first time, Rehan started seeing Zara in a different light. Her strength and independence impressed him more than ever before. On the other hand, Zara also began to feel that perhaps Rehan wasn't just an arrogant and entitled man, maybe there was something more hidden beneath his exterior. After arriving at the seminar venue, Zara kept herself busy with work. She knew that engaging too much with Rehan would only add to her confusion, but fate once again brought them closer. One night, as all the employees sat around the campfire, a sudden downpour began. Everyone rushed to their rooms, but Zara and Rehan got stuck under a temporary shelter. "You always end up in trouble," Rehan said, laughing. Zara frowned and replied, "Or maybe trouble always finds its way to me." For the first time, they spent a moment together without arguing. As the raindrops continued to fall, Zara felt something unfamiliar. Maybe Rehan wasn't exactly who she had always thought he was. The silence of the night and the rhythmic sound of raindrops stirred something strange in Zara's heart. She tried to convince herself that it was all just a coincidence, but her heart refused to accept it. "Why are you so quiet?" Rehan asked softly. Zara glanced at him for a moment, then quickly looked away, just feeling a little tired. Rehan smiled. "For the first time, it seems like you're out of words." Zara let out a small laugh. "Maybe sometimes, silence is better." That moment felt like the first glimpse of an unspoken story between them. The next day, the seminar activities continued. Zara kept herself occupied with work, but her mind kept drifting back to that fleeting moment from the night before. On the other hand, Rehan also seemed different. He still tried to tease Zara, but there was no longer the same sharpness in his tone. On the final day of the seminar, a hiking trip was organized. Zara thought it would be a good way to keep herself busy. She was climbing the trail with her colleagues when suddenly, her foot slipped, and she lost her balance. "Zara!" a voice echoed, and before she could fall, a strong hand grasped hers firmly. It was Rehan. Zara looked at him in surprise. His eyes no longer held their usual careless smirk. Instead, there was genuine concern. "Are you okay?" Rehan asked seriously. Zara steadied herself and softly replied, "Yes, thank you." For the first time, there was no game, no challenge, just a pure exchange of emotions between them. The journey had come to an end, but in the hearts of Zara and Rehan, a new journey had just begun. After the trip, Zara felt that something had changed. As soon as she returned to the office, she buried herself in work even more, but a strange restlessness had settled inside her. On the other hand, Rehan also seemed different. He still teased Zara, but now there was an unusual softness in his eyes. One day, while Zara was sitting in her cabin working, there was a knock on the door. "Yes, come in." Rehan walked in, holding 2 cups of coffee. "I just thought, maybe you could use a cup too," he said, placing one in front of her. Zara looked at him in surprise. "What's the occasion?" Rehan gave a small smile. "Sometimes, things don't need a reason." Zara picked up the cup and paused for a moment. She knew this wasn't just an ordinary moment, it was the beginning of something new. In the evening, as Zara was leaving the office, she saw Rehan in the parking lot talking to a girl. They were standing quite close, and there was a different expression on Rehan's face. Zara's steps stopped on their own. She told herself that this scene shouldn't matter to her, but strangely, she felt a sharp sting in her heart. Just then, Rehan noticed Zara and smiled, but Zara quickly looked away and hurried toward her car. "Zara!" Rehan called out, but she didn't stop. As she drove away, only one question echoed in her mind: why does this matter to me? She didn't even know the answer herself. The next day, when Zara arrived at the office, she felt a strange restlessness in her heart. She tried to keep herself busy with work, but her mind kept drifting back to the scene from the previous evening. "Zara, are you okay?" her friend Sarah asked, sensing her unease. "Yes, I'm perfectly fine, Zara replied, forcing a smile. Just then, Rehan appeared at her cabin door. Zara, can we talk? She hesitated for a moment, then nodded. They went up to the rooftop, where a gentle breeze was blowing. You left early yesterday, Rehan started. Yeah, I had some work, Zara replied shortly. You misunderstood something, Rehan said softly. That girl was my sister's friend. She was just talking to me about a project. Zara looked at him, startled. Oh. I see. Rehan smiled. What did you think? Zara quickly looked away. Nothing. Why would it matter to me? Rehan gazed at her intently. Really? If it didn't matter, then why did you speed away instead of stopping when I called your name yesterday? Zara had no answer. Her heart pounded loudly in her chest. Rehan spoke gently. Zara, maybe it's time we stop lying to ourselves. The air around them fell silent, but inside their hearts, a storm of questions had already begun. During this time, a new face appeared in the office. Rehan, a successful businessman who had joined the company for an important project. He was charming, intelligent, and extremely well-mannered. Zara and Rehan met a few times, and soon, they became good colleagues. Zara started enjoying Rehan's cheerful nature, and she often went for lunch with him. This didn't go unnoticed by Rehan. One evening, Zara was sitting in a cafe, discussing a project with Rehan, when she suddenly noticed Rehan standing at the door. There was a strange intensity on his face. Zara looked at him in surprise, but Rehan just gave her a brief glance before turning around and walking out. What was that all about? A strange uneasiness settled in Zara's heart. The next day, Rehan's behavior was different. He was avoiding eye contact and keeping his distance from her. Finally, Zara decided to confront him. Rehan, what's wrong? Why are you so quiet? Rehan looked at her with deep eyes. Why should it matter to me, Zara? Do whatever you want. Spend time with whoever you want. Zara stared at him, startled. Are you upset with me? Rehan let out a bitter smile. No, I'm just upset with myself for thinking that maybe you also. Never mind. Zara's heart started pounding. Did she really have the same feelings for Rehan? She needed answers. She talked to Sarah, who gave her a knowing smile. Zara, you already know the truth. You're just afraid to admit it. Zara realized she couldn't keep running anymore. It was time to listen to her heart. But was Rehan ready to understand her? Or would this distance between them grow forever? The next day, as Zara was entering the office, her phone suddenly buzzed with a message. Can we meet? The sender was Rehan. Without thinking, Zara quickly replied. Where? Coffee shop. 7 p.m. That evening, when Zara arrived, Rehan was already there, lost in deep thought. As soon as she sat near him, he spoke in a serious tone. Zara, I know we have always challenged each other, but there was something more behind it. I didn't want this story to end just like that. Zara took a deep breath and smiled. Maybe it took us time to understand, but what truly matters is that we finally have. Rehan looked at her and gave a small smile. So, can we give this story a new turn? Zara picked up her coffee cup and softly said, perhaps it's time we write our own story. This was a new beginning. There were no longer walls of ego or stubbornness between Zara and Rehan. The bond they shared had now become a clear reality. Zara looked up at the sky, where raindrops were touching the earth, just like some stories, which, even if delayed, eventually find their destination.